I guess probably my biggest weakness is, and I'm working on this a lot when I think about, the rest of my life, my career. I've succumbed to anxiety a lot. I've been very anxious about things, and combined with a certain kind of ambition. And as I go into my 50s, that stuff seems less important, and I'm trying to focus more on just doing good work and not being so concerned with external markers of success. I think I'm a lot more thick-skinned than I used to be, and that's been an interesting process. But I'd like to be maybe even more unconcerned about that stuff, and just sort of live for my own sense of what's good.
Well, I wish you luck with that. I have to say that's one thing about Niles that he actually does. He's quite good at. He kind of makes his own rules, and Steve. Steve is a total badass. Yeah, total badass.
Well,
okay.
Thanks for the compliment.
Oh, you're welcome. Terry from New York wants to know what your writing process is like.
Well, I'm like a lot of people. I'm very regular about it, and in fact, all the writers I know, even with the different variables, they do the same thing. And I think that's the key: is whatever you do, it should be the same, day in, day out. So I like to write in the morning. Today is an exception because I have other errands later, and so it's just some days I don't write. But whenever I do, I like to write in the morning, and I don't write for that long. I find this started when I was writing my PhD dissertation. 2 or 3 hours in the morning, especially if you get stuff that you can use, you don't have to throw away too much. That's plenty. That's a day's work, and then you have this wonderful feeling around lunchtime that you've already put in your productive day's work, and you can do whatever you want. Go for a walk, go to a movie.
Yeah.
I do all the other little tricks, or some of the tricks that people have probably heard. I like to end a day's writing with the first sentence of a new paragraph, so that I can just pick that up when I get started the next day. In terms of other parts of process, I use outlines a lot. I'm a bit of a stickler for outlines to make sure that everything goes in the right place in the right order. And I think those are the main things. I like to draft. Say it depends on the piece, but say it's a 7,000 or 8,000 word kind of essay. I like to draft the whole thing before I start to even think about revising. But I really enjoy revising. That's my favorite part of writing, going back and tweaking all the little bits and pieces and rewriting sentences.
Yeah. I can identify with that.
I think you said your writing environment you had to have quiet when you. Is that true? No music.
Not absolute quiet. I like to have music on, and where I write in my office, there's I have the radio tuned to French CBC. So what I love about that is the French CBC plays really great music, and then they're speaking in French, means that I could, if I worked, I could understand it because my French is okay, but most of the time it's just words, so it's just like more music, and it doesn't kind of get inside my head. So it's almost like white noise, and that's what I like. French dialogue and French weather forecasts plus music.
Okay, all right. All right, Lisa from Texas wants to know, would you consider posting any of your lectures on YouTube?
Well, there are some on YouTube already. A lot of times, especially in the last while, anything that I do publicly, or almost everything, is taped or recorded somehow and posted. So so you can find some of those. I mean, I don't control that very much, and that's kind of the one thing I don't like about it. Anyway, there are some there on YouTube, and those are usually the ones that are done for how can I put this? I guess higher profile places. Big public lectures. My sort of day-to-day lectures that I give to my students here, those are not ever recorded. So, the students record them sometimes, just the audio. But and those, I actually think those are better lectures because the intimacy you get with an ongoing relationship with a group of students over the course of a semester creates a whole different kind of interaction. But anyway, there are some on YouTube, and if people want to, just search there, you'll find some.
Okay, all right.
All right. this question comes from Taylor in South Carolina. She wants to know what drew you about to the study of philosophy. Why did you choose philosophy?
Well, it's probably more accurate to say that philosophy chose me. This is very common among my colleagues, I find, when I ask them that question. Everybody has different kind of micro version of the story, but the main features are often the same. You get interested in certain questions, and as I've argued many times, and as philosophers have known for millennia, the basic questions are the questions that everybody asks, often when they're children. And the difference is that most people just go on with their lives and ask other questions like, how can I make ends meet? How can I raise a family? And philosophers are weird people who keep on asking those questions. And some of us are lucky enough to be able to make ends meet doing that. But, I mean, my micro version of the story was when I was an undergraduate, I was really vexed by the question of God's existence, and I really wanted to try to find good arguments for God's existence. So I spent a lot of time in that literature, and I kept coming back to whether or not the arguments were good arguments or not. And I realized along the way that I'd become just really interested in the nature of argument and how people construct rational scaffolds for the things that they believe, or use rationality to question what they believe. So I kind of backed into being a philosopher as I was struggling with this question of theism. And that's very typical too. I know a lot of my colleagues would have versions of that experience.
Yeah. All right. So last question. Is there a question you've always wanted to be asked in an interview that you'd love to answer?
It should be something like a red carpet question, right? Like, who are you wearing today? Or what's that aftershave you have on, or something like that. Yeah. I'll answer those. I'm wearing LL Bean today, so that's not terribly fashionable, but it's cold and rainy and snowy up here, so I've got my plaid shirt on. And I use this aftershave called, if you can believe it, Eau de Sauvage, which my wife says smells like gin and tonic. So that's yeah. So there you go.
All right.
Great, Jen. Okay. Well, Mark, tell everyone where they can get your latest book and where they can find you on the web.
Yeah. The book is available on all the main online sources, so Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com. It's called Measure Yourself Against the Earth, or you can enter in my name, and you'll find that book and my other books. And it's available in other places too, but those are the main ones, even though they're large and possibly evil corporations. They help us spread the written word. And you can also download Kindle-friendly versions, and I believe there's an audio version of parts of the book, of the previous book for sure, if people are interested in that. And on the web, I as kind of implied, I don't have a huge web presence. There's an info page at the University of Toronto Department of Philosophy, but by and large, I live through the printed word. So I'm writing a semi-regular newspaper column again these days in the Globe and Mail, published here in Toronto. And I should say, I had a new piece, new in the first time in a little while, in Harper's in the February or March issue, I forget. So you can find me on the Harper's website too.
Okay, lovely. Well, Mark, you're always a delight, and I'm glad you came back. It's your third time, so third time's a charm, and maybe you'll grace us with your presence again for the fourth time at some point. But you're just always a lot of fun. So.
Well, always a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Okay.
Everyone buy
Thanks,
his book.
Mark. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye, Mark.
Bye.
Oh, that was a lovely interview. That went so much better than our last one. Oh, my goodness. So, I heard feedback. Did you hear feedback, Miles?
For a minute there I did, yeah.
Okay. All right, he's lovely. Please get his latest book, Measure Yourself Against the Earth, and check him out. You know, he's very gracious about answering emails, too. So you email him. He's quick, too. He's really quick. He always gets back so quickly. He's always very just kind and gracious.
Yeah, he is. You and I both have emailed him from time to time, and, you know, he does. I can definitely say he gets back quicker than you'd think he would, as busy as everyone knows he is.
Yeah, I'm always surprised, but he's always really, really kind. And I hope, listeners, that, you know, we phrased your questions well. And with Misty's, I wasn't really sure how to, she had actually sent me a paragraph, and I wasn't really sure how to word it. I didn't really want to read the paragraph, but hopefully she's pleased when she listens. And Miss Ellen, I knew she was going to ask the question about Sylvain Renard. That you knew that question was going to be in there.
And he knew that was coming at some point too. He said, "Oh, I wondered when that was going to come up."
You know, if he ever does want to get on Twitter, he should play up the, you know, which, you know, we clearly don't think that he is Sylvain Renard.
Right.
But he should play it up. I mean, that would probably increase his Twitter following by mass.
Yeah, I think it would. I think he would get quite an audience doing that. So,
I don't know if Sylvain would appreciate it, but
But you've heard him say that his plan for the time being is to see how many followers he can get by not doing anything.
We should try to get him. We should try to get him followers. Follow Mark Kingwell.
I was gonna suggest that isn't he like just at Mark Kingwell? Isn't that his Twitter handle?
I believe so.
Yeah. So, but anyway.
Go follow Mark Kingwell. I know what he's talking about because I have the same kind of personality. I mean, you know, I get addicted to stuff quite easily, and and I've had to kind of step back with Twitter because I was getting a little too attached, and so I've you know, taken a step back, and now I guess WordPress is my addiction.
Now it's
writing and posting constantly. So
every time I talk to you, you're like, yeah, I've been on WordPress.
Yeah, I've been on WordPress. But I have to say, I don't drink, I don't do drugs, I don't smoke. So, you know, if my vice is WordPress, I think I'm doing okay. So. Yeah.
You know, as far as online for me, between Twitter and Goodreads, that's where I spend most of my time. So,
I know you really love Goodreads.
Yeah, Goodreads is cool. It's books. I resisted for a long time because, you know, I was just like, it's another, you know, social media website to join. You know, I don't know, whatever. And so something convinced me to finally join, and I'm like hooked now. Because you know, what I like about it is it fills the place that I used to have when I worked at the bookstore. You know, having conversations about books all the time, you know, what people are reading and what they're recommending, and, you know, finding people with similar tastes, you know, to yours and all that, and I missed that since I left the bookstore. One of the big evil corporations that Mark was talking about. But like you said, they provide the printed word, so we're cool with them.
They do. They have.
Yeah.
They provide a service that we need.
Yeah, but anyway, you know, so Goodreads fills a void that I had, I guess. That and so it's cool. Yeah.
It is cool.
Everybody.
You could book club. You could. You know, you could get on the going back to Sylvain Renard's bent. You know, I'm sure they have book clubs. Just saying. I hate it when people say, I'm just saying, and I just said it. This is the portion of the show where we just ramble. Just saying. I can't stand that. You know, if somebody will, you know, make a statement, they'll go, just saying. Oh, I can't stand it. I just did it. Gosh darn it.
You know, I didn't actually catch it in time, and this this is a reference for Terry when she listens to the show, because I kind of don't think she's going to be able. I don't think she was able to listen in, with it being morning. But the aftershave he mentioned that he's wearing, Eau Sauvage, it's a fragrance by Christian Dior, and it's actually one of my favorite fragrances. I have it in the fragrance form, not the aftershave, but yeah, it really smells good. It's great.
So you two smell like gin and tonic. You smell like gin and tonic.
Well, I don't know about the gin and tonic, but but it smells good. It smells really good. So. Random fragrance.
Terry's big on fragrance.
Yeah.
Miss Terry likes the fragrances.
So what are you wearing today, fragrance-wise?
I am not wearing anything right now, fragrance-wise, at the moment. Haven't left the house yet, so. So I had to clarify that because I said I'm not wearing anything. I was like, wait, fragrance-wise.
Right.
That's how I make it weird.
Yeah, I caught that, and I thought about that for a second, but you corrected yourself before I could get in any kind of joke or anything.
I knew one was coming, so I had to amend that statement.
You headed me off at the pass is what you did there.
We just want to make it weird, we want Mark Kingwell to come back. Hey, Mark, we were both in our underwear the whole time we were interviewing you.
Yeah. At least we weren't in our birthday suit.
That's true. I like how he described what he was wearing, his plaid shirt and
his
cooler.
His LL Bean and his Eau Sauvage.
Yeah. A little preppy man. Little prep. People even say that anymore, preppy. I'm dating myself.
Yeah, I do, actually. I know, well, at least I know what you're talking about, so, yeah.
Yeah, well, you're kind of in the same age category as I.
Yeah, some of our younger listeners might not.
All right, what? What's preppy?
Reminds me of...
no, just emo. Emo, that's another one. I think that's pretty much done.
Yeah, emo is kind of weird. Whenever I think of preppy, I always think about Saved by the Bell, and Slater calling Jack preppy all the time. Yeah.
I think I like members only jackets. Remember those members only jackets?
Oh yeah. I definitely had a members only. Yep.
Oh my goodness.
In fact, I think I still have it.
I would not be surprised. I was a nerd in school. I think you were too, to an extent. But I really didn't fit into the preppy category or kind of a loner nerd.
Yeah, I think I was more of a dork than a nerd, because I've always said that I don't think I was smart enough to be considered a nerd, and so I always just kind of considered myself a dork.
Oh, that's not nice. That's not a nice thing to say about yourself. Stop it.
Well,
that's rude to yourself.
It's just
rude
another.
to yourself.
It's just another way of saying that I was odd, So.
Well, odd is good. I think as we get older, and I think I think the nerds and the odd people are. I think that's the way to be. So.
Oh yeah, well I think the nerds and the odd people end up being the creative people.
Mhm.
In a lot of ways, you're writers and musicians and artists.
Yeah, I think sometimes, people peak too early. So, if you have all the popularity and you're the jock or you're the cheerleader, and, that's the highlight of their life, and that's it. And, there's 4 years, and then, what's next? So I think, I was a late bloomer, as they say, and really didn't find a niche till college. And,
that's something you and I have in common.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think that's why we bond.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about maybe writing a poem on being bullied, because I don't think you had to deal with this, and I know I did, because I was really small, and I was visually impaired, and so it kind of made me the target.
Yeah.
And I think when you go through something like that, I mean, obviously it doesn't define you, but it stays with you. And I think it makes you more compassionate towards people.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Because I know you had your own
issues.
Agree.
Yeah, you know, and I mean, there were a couple of instances where I remember, you know, being bullied. I mean, along through school, but yeah, I mean, I definitely had my own physical issues, and I always kind of stood out from everybody. But you know, I was fortunate in that that wasn't an ongoing thing for me. It was just kind of just random every once in a while when somebody didn't like me, you know, so, a particular classmate who just decided they didn't like me, you know. So.
Well, that's not. I don't know. Kids can be really cruel. They really can.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I mean, I think the thing with, you know, I know with my disability, like it's not noticeable. You know, so people sometimes, you know, but it's still there. You know, I still, you know, I see well enough. We talked about this. I get around. I walk, but. You know, if you put me in a crowded store with a lot of people, and I kind of, the anxiety kind of, you know, revs up a little bit, just with crowds and stuff. But that's maybe something we could talk about. We should do a round table show about, you know, maybe disabilities and stuff at some point.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. I'm up for that because I've been. My parents have taught me. He taught me when I was real little to, you know, be able to talk about my physical disability. So, you know, just kind of communicate what I need and communicate what's going on, you know, to people who don't know anything about it. And so, I'm totally comfortable doing that. So. Yeah,
we could do that. It's nothing to be ashamed of. You know, we just have our, you know, our cross to bear, I guess, but you know, but I feel fortunate, like I said, because you know, I've like you, I've always had the support of family, and you know, and I see well enough. Like I said, I'm not even without my glasses, I'm not legally blind, so I just, you know, the main hindrance for me has been the driving. You know, not to be able to drive, and you know, if you don't live in a, you know, in New York or you know, a big city, it can be a bit of a hassle. So.
Yeah, I can understand that, and you know, even though I can drive, you know, driving for me presents its own challenges. But you know, I've fortunately been able to you know, deal with it fairly well. So, but anyway, yeah, and you know, like you, when I wear like when I'm wearing, you know, jeans or, you know, long pants, typically people who don't know me don't know that I have a disability either. So yeah.
Well, we went really random with this one, didn't we? We're always random.
Hey, you know, whatever it always happens. I'm always curious to see what we're going to talk about after our guest leaves.
After this, I wonder if our guests listen to the after part. They're like, "Oh my God, could you just edit this part out where you guys are talking and just have my interview, please?"
Yeah. Well, we're into the we're into the archive time. We're out of the.
Oh my goodness, we didn't say goodbye.
Time.
We did not even say goodbye. Oh well.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't matter because people listen back to the archive. It'll be fluid.
Yeah, it's there. Yeah, it's there. So.
Yeah.
But
well,
anyway.
as always, Mark Kingwell is a delight. Absolutely,
He
just so much fun and just so gracious.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it just reminds you know, I ought to tell him this one time, but he reminds me of my sociology professor in college, the chair of the department. She basically, I had an open door policy with her. I could just kind of come in just because she knew that we were kind of interested in the same sort of things, and you know, I was interested in academics and not just, you know, getting the grade and graduating.
Right.
But like I could go into her office when, you know, she wasn't on a call or with another student or whatever, and we would just talk about, you know, the stuff that we were talking about in class or whatever, and Professor Kingwell kind of strikes me as being that same sort of way, except that, you know, he's he has so much, so many other things going on, with his writing and other stuff.
Right.
That catching him in his office for a random conversation would probably be a little bit
might
more
be
of a
difficult.
challenge,
but he does seem like the type that would actually sit down with you, and he's just a kind man. So
I could see many. Yeah, I could see having many interesting conversations with him in his office.
Maybe we should register at the University of Toronto and take some classes. You think that'd freak him out a little bit?
That would be a lot of fun. I say we look into it.
All right, yeah. I may be moving to Canada anyway. I'm one of those people who jokes that I'm going to move to Canada if Donald Trump becomes president. Hey, there you go. Yeah, I'm sure that wouldn't freak Mark out at all. He showed up at his election.
The thing that's funny to me about the whole moving to Canada deal is that Canada is they're probably more liberal than America, right? And so I think people who don't like Donald Trump and they would move to I think there's probably a group of people who would move to Canada and would be disappointed in that it wasn't more like America in some way.
I think I would fit in. I think I'd be pretty happy. Because I tend to lean more towards the liberal side. I think you're more in the middle, and I tend to lean. When he was talking about Hillary, I was like, I agree. And I know that you're not a big Hillary supporter, so. But I don't know. It's really weird. The political climate is very weird.
It's too polarized.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's too polarized because you see, this is what I always tell people. As far as my political philosophy, I'm what used to be considered a classical liberal, which is basically to say an economic conservative but fairly liberal on the social side. And there's not a party like that in America except for the libertarians.
Right.
So basically, I'm a libertarian because I agree in some ways with Democrats and in some ways with Republicans, but neither party do I agree with all of what they say.
Right.
And so I'm hoping for the formation of a new, more moderate party at some point.
It could happen. I think that. It's weird. I think that with the Republicans, you have these Tea Party people, and then you do have the more moderate Republicans, and you can kind of see those two maybe. I don't know. It's just it's scary times we live in. With terrorism.
As far as the Republicans, when you have people, when you have your current party going to the right of Ronald Reagan, that's a little bit kind of weird to me, and meanwhile they're talking about how great he is, but they're if you look at his policies and their policies, it's okay, you need to come back a little bit.
Right.
But anyway.
I agree. Well, I don't know. We'll see what happens. It's so funny because you and I we kept saying, Donald Trump's going to be out every time, and so I think I've told you I'm no longer saying there's no way Donald Trump's going to be president. I don't say that anymore. I think he can be president. It's possible, and hopefully that's.
Yeah.
He's something else, I tell you.
Yeah, well, it's the. I think if he does get to be president, I think he'll get in the Oval Office and he'll realize how much of the things that he wanted to do, he won't be able to do.
No, he won't. I don't know.
Just because of the checks and balances and of our government and all that. So that's all I'm going to say about Donald Trump.
What's more than you usually say? So well done. Usually shy away. We usually shy away from politics and religion on the show. And I know Nelson does not pretty opinionated. He's like, oh my God. I can just see him. Tasha. Be quiet.
Before the show, I joked with Tasha. I asked the question that Ellen called in about, what does he think about the political climate, and what about Hillary Clinton, whatever. And I told Tasha before the show aired, I said, yeah, you would give me that question to ask.
Yep. Because I knew you weren't going to like it. Okay, question to you. That's like I tried the last time he was on, or maybe it was the first time he was on. I tried to give you we asked random questions on our show. I tried to give you the one about boxer briefs or boxers.
Yeah, we talked. Yeah, we talked about that.
I thought it'd be hilarious if you asked him that, but nope.
Yeah.
You weren't having it.
But then, like, either there was somewhere that I think it might have been one of the 20 question blogs that you did with him, where you said, Niles wants to know, do you wear boxers or didn't you do that? I did. Yeah. So you got it. And let the record show people that I did not actually request that she ask that question.
It wasn't actually Niles. It was his alter ego, Steve, that wanted to know.
Well, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I could sort of see Snarky Niles doing it.
Yeah, okay, Snarky Niles. It was the other alter ego, Snarky Niles, he wanted to know. I thought it was more appropriate coming from you. I felt more comfortable asking him that, and attributing that question to you instead of myself.
Well, no matter which one of us asked that question, it was going to be weird no matter what. So
yeah, that's true.
It really didn't matter who asked it.
That's true.
So, but anyway.
It was weird. We have to throw out. Can you imagine if we had asked our last guest that question?
Yeah, and then and then after we asked it, if we would have done.
Oh my God! You know what we should have done during that show? This is what we should have done. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Yeah. And I knew you were going to go with that one, because I almost did.
Oh my goodness!
That would have been perfect.
Did. God bless. Like I said, I think that Mark seemed the connection today seemed to he didn't have any trouble hearing me, so I don't know what was going on Friday.
Yeah.
But Elizabeth was very gracious after the show. She sent an email and she thanked us both. She said she addressed it to Tasha and Steve, and she was very gracious. And I replied in kind, and I apologized for the for the technical issues.
Yeah, every now and then we have it. I know, I have problems with Skype sometimes when we have a Skype caller. For some reason, my connection goes haywire occasionally.
Yeah.
So.
It happens. So. All right, let's wrap this up. And again, go out, buy Mark's book, Mark Kingwell, Professor Mark Kingwell, the University of Toronto. Measure yourself against the earth, and it's available on Amazon and everywhere, I'm sure.
and buy Tasha's books if you haven't already. Confessions of a Reformed Southern Belle and Self-Help to Self-Harm, which are her poetry collection and her humorous take on the self-help genre, respectively. And you can get those at Barnes & Noble and Amazon and wherever books are sold.
Thank you. And follow Niles on WordPress at www.jamesdennard.com. The Gentleman Writer.
I appreciate that. I need to come up with a better title. I'm thinking about restarting. I'm thinking about restarting a blog, and but I probably won't do it until I come up with a better title.
Gentleman Writer is a little bland. You got to think it's something a little bit more.
Well,
I don't know. Titles are hard. Like Mark said, titles are hard. Blog titles, poetry. It's always difficult.
Yeah, they are. But your blog title is very easy to remember. It's bloggerati.com, same as the show.
Well, that's the URL, but the title is actually Everything I Never Told You.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. maybe one day I will. Maybe one day I'll come up with a better, more creative title for my blog.
You will. I'm sure you will. I have faith in you.
And I enlist any help with that. You know, if you have suggestions, I'm always open.
All right, I'll think about it. I'll brainstorm, send you some ideas. And see, like the titles are not my thing either. They really aren't. But I think my blog has went through a series of transitions. But I think in fact, if I do another poetry book, I think that's what I want to title it. Everything I Never Told You. But you know, it's the name that has changed. But I'm thinking I'm going to stick with this one. So.
Yeah, it's a good one. I like it. I like it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. All righty. Well, let's wrap this up so we can get lunchtime before you know it. So,
yeah, I'm getting hungry.
Yeah, me too. We need to get some lunch. So, thanks again to Professor Mark Kingwell. As always, you're a delight, and you're welcome back anytime. And thank you, Niles, for being always so sweet and such a wonderful co-host and human being.
Well, you're an awesome friend. You're an awesome friend, and I do my best to do right by you for your baby, the show.
Well, you know, you've been a constant. I mean, honestly, we've been friends, I think, for 12 years. I'm thinking 12 years. You know, and you know, you've always been
that neighborhood, yeah.
Yeah, in that neighborhood, you've always just been so loyal and kind, and yeah, with any long-term friendships, I mean, we have our issues that crop up every now and then, but we always see our way to each other's side. So, 'cause we always respect each other at the end of the day. So
yeah,
that's what it's all about.
You're not going to lose me.
Well, likewise. So. We have it on, it's recorded, so I guess we have to kind of stick to it.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's too bad. I was going to dump you today. But,
Yeah. I can see that coming.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Until next time, Niles, you want to do our little tagline?
Happy reading.
Happy reading. Bye. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. We need to work on that, too. That tagline is a little, I don't know. I have to think about that. Anyway, until next time, everyone. Bye.
Bye, everybody.